As the new year dawned, Fred penned a final, poignant message to Rose. "Happy New Year, darling, all my love forever and ever." A chilling sentiment, considering the darkness that enveloped their lives. That morning, after collecting his meal, Fred returned to his cell. Instead of eating, he meticulously tore strips from his bed sheets, weaving them into a strong cord. Standing on a chair, he made a desperate, final arrangement using a ventilation shaft. In a grim act of self-determination, he then kicked the chair away, seeking an end to his own existence. For nearly an hour, he remained in that tragic state until guards, checking on him, discovered his desperate act. Despite their frantic efforts, it was too late. On the wall of his cell, Fred had scrawled a chilling testament. Freddy, the accursed figure from Gloucester, almost as if it were a declaration of dark pride. He also left behind a trove of unsent letters, each echoing his profound, twisted affection for Rose. In the wake of Fred's demise, there was understandable anguish from the families of those whose lives had been tragically impacted. They felt robbed of the opportunity for a full trial, denied the chance to confront the depths of his terrible deeds. And in an astonishing turn, the police officer, who had been so central to the investigation, Hazel Savage, found herself in the spotlight for different reasons. Conversations about writing a tell-all memoir, reportedly for a substantial sum, led to an inquiry into her conduct, and she was subsequently moved off the case. Perhaps one of the most heart-wrenching aspects of this whole saga was the reaction of Fred's older children, Anne-Marie, May, and Stephen. Despite the years of profound hardship and mistreatment they had endured, they openly mourned their father, a truly complex, difficult emotion to fathom. Rose, however, displayed no outward sign of feeling when informed of her husband's death. It must have dawned on her then that, with Fred gone, she alone would bear the full weight of their shared transgressions. This realization likely galvanized her legal team to redouble their efforts to have the charges against her dismissed. After all, Rose had never offered a confession, and initially, Fred himself had claimed she was not involved. But now, he was gone. Yet, the judicial system determined there was more than enough evidence to proceed. Far from dropping the charges, an additional one was levied against Rose concerning the tragic ending of 8-year-old Charmaine, bringing the total accusations related to terrible outcomes to 10. Fred's passing sparked little public sympathy, even before the full, horrific details of their crimes became widely known. He was reviled. Conspiracy theories even circulated, suggesting prison officers might have somehow facilitated his desperate act. However, subsequent investigations found no evidence of this, confirming the guards had acted appropriately upon finding him. Fred had left specific instructions for his final resting place, even including a drawing for his headstone. In perfect peace, he waits for Rose, his wife, a truly unsettling request, which, predictably, was denied. For 3 months, Fred's remains lay preserved, as no funeral director or church would agree to his interment. Eventually, a newspaper, in exchange for an exclusive story from his son Stephen, arranged for a crematorium in Coventry to hold a private service. The press, however, caught wind, and the crematorium was swarming with cameras and reporters. Stephen, May, and Tara attended the brief service, joined later by Anne-Marie, who, despite everything, was deeply distressed at having been excluded. It's a testament to the enduring, albeit fractured, bonds of family that she still felt the need to pay her respects. Stephen planned to scatter the ashes near his grandparents' graves, but in a strange turn of events, Anne-Marie intervened, taking the urn. Its ultimate fate remains unknown. Rose remained impassive regarding her husband's ashes, steadfastly protesting her innocence. Her older children, Stephen, Mai, and Tara, staunchly supported her, convinced their father was solely responsible for the terrible events and that their mother had done nothing wrong. At this point, they were completely unaware of the full extent of their mother's participation. Rose's trial was set for October 1995 in Winchester. During this period, her psychological state was precarious, leading to close observation for her well-being. Despite everything, Rose remained oddly confident she would be acquitted, even making plans to move to Ireland once the ordeal was over. Her eldest children shared this belief, feeling immense pity for her, viewing her as a victim of their father's terrible legacy. Though they didn't attend the full trial, they were present for the summing up. Crucially, Anne-Marie made the brave and harrowing decision to give evidence against Rose. Her account was deeply distressing, and the emotional toll was so severe that she subsequently made a desperate act of self-harm. During the extensive investigations, another dark truth emerged. Fred's brother, John, had also been involved in gravely harming and mistreating Anne-Marie. He too was scheduled to stand trial, but like Fred, he took his own life before proceedings could begin. It's widely believed he was not only aware of, but likely involved in, the terrible deeds of Fred and Rose. In his powerful summing up, prosecutor Brian Leveson painted Rose as a formidable, resourceful woman, driven by dark impulses, who was the ideal partner for Fred. He likened her to the proverbial three brass monkeys, claiming she saw, heard, and spoke no evil. Despite living in a house where women were subjected to unthinkable indignities and ultimately interred, Leveson concluded that Fred's death was the ultimate gift he could have given Rose, as it prevented his cross-examination, which likely would have revealed him as a liar and her accomplice. They were, he asserted, perfect companions, fully entangled in their horrifying enterprise. The defense naturally presented a counter-narrative, but by then, the overwhelming evidence, especially from witnesses like Caroline Owens and Anne-Marie, proved undeniable. On November 21, 1995, the jury delivered its verdict. Rose was found responsible for the tragic outcomes concerning Charmaine, her own daughter Heather, and Shirley Robinson. They then deliberated on the remaining 7 victims. Upon their return, Rose was found responsible for all 10. At sentencing, Justice Mantell addressed her directly, declaring, "Rosemary Pauline West, on each of the 10 charges related to the tragic deaths of which you have been unanimously convicted by the jury, the sentence is one of life imprisonment. If attention is paid to what I think, you will never be released." Rose showed no flicker of emotion as she was led away, destined to spend the rest of her days removed from the outside world. The stories of Fred and Rose often read like dark fiction, making it almost impossible to grasp how 2 individuals could embody such profound depravity. Their case stands out as remarkably rare, an outwardly ordinary married couple with a mortgage and family, living in a bustling city, exchanging friendly greetings with neighbors. Their house, located near a shopping center and a police station, was passed by hundreds daily, all utterly oblivious to the quiet horrors unfolding within. What also set them apart was the absence of drugs or alcohol influencing their actions. Their terrible deeds were driven solely by their dark and perverse impulses. While both possessed below average intelligence, neither was deemed mentally impaired. A common thread in their backgrounds was childhood mistreatment and the disturbing predatory behaviors of their fathers, and in Fred's case, possibly his mother too. They lacked any discernible moral compass, especially when it came to their own children. While some theorize Fred's teenage accident altered his personality, Rose had no such excuse. It's chillingly probable that Fred and Rose were responsible for the disappearance of many more young women. Tragically, with Fred gone, those secrets remain buried with him, and Rose continues to protest her innocence, futilely pursuing appeals. A female figure involved in such repeated terrible acts is uncommon, but one implicated in the demise of her own child is almost unprecedented. From the moment Charmaine met her tragic end when Rose was just 17, with her remains kept for Fred to conceal upon his release, they formed a toxic alliance, a bond fueled by secrets and lies that proved stronger than any marriage vows. Of course, along their chilling path, there were numerous opportunities for their crimes to be uncovered, yet they went undetected for over 2 decades. Between 1972 and 1992, the West children visited emergency services an astonishing 31 times, with various injuries, yet no one thought to investigate the family more deeply. Some children exhibited unexplained health conditions, speech impediments, and squints, all classic indicators of severe mistreatment. Social services received warnings that the West children were often left alone at Cromwell Street, and although visits were made, no significant action was taken. Another astonishing flaw was that 6 of the 12 known victims were never reported missing by their families or friends. In Heather's case, how did none of Fred and Rose's extended family ever question her absence? One thing remains almost certain. Across the sprawling countryside of Gloucestershire and Herefordshire, many more hidden horrors lie waiting, perhaps for someone to stumble upon them one day. If Fred had lived, it's likely he might have revealed some of those dark secrets. But with Rose West, the chances of alleviating the suffering of the many families whose loved ones have vanished are about as likely as her ever admitting her guilt or showing any remorse for her victims. As for the infamous house at Cromwell Street, it's long gone. A few years after the discovery of its terrible secrets, the council demolished it. Today, it's merely a concrete walkway. Rose's family no longer visit her in prison, but over the years, some of them have shared their harrowing stories, grappling with their lives as the children of Britain's most notorious figures involved in terrible deeds, Fred and Rosemary West. The story of Fred and Rose West is a stark reminder of the hidden darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary lives. It also raises profound questions about collective responsibility and the signs we might miss in our communities. What do you think were the biggest missed opportunities to intervene in this case, and how do we learn from such devastating events to better protect vulnerable individuals today? Share your thoughts in the comments below! And if you found this deep dive compelling, please remember to hit that subscribe button for more explorations into untold stories.